Okay, wine number two. Wine number two is from the Loire, and arguably the place where you find the most classic examples of Cabernet Franc. I mean, Cabernet Franc comes from everywhere. When I was trying to make the selections, I was looking at Cabernet Francs from South America, from Bordeaux. I mean, since that's where it's native, and on the left bank of Bordeaux, it's more of a blending grape, and where Cabernet Sauvignon is more popular. On the right bank of Bordeaux, Merlot and Cabernet Franc are more predominant. So it could have been there. The third wine actually is from California. It could have been from Italy. I had in one of the final choices was an Italian Cabernet Franc that I think is actually really special. So it could have been from lots of different places, and but we went with classic here. And this is from Saumur, Champigny. It is. Let me see if I can get not enough light. It is from Domaine. Excuse me, Chateau or Domaine du Hureau, and Tuffe. Tuffe is the name that this wine takes, and that is a short for Tuffe, which is the limestone chalky soil that is pretty predominant in this part of the Loire. The Loire is filled with these limestone castles and chateaus, and they were built from limestone that was excavated right from the region. Very famous type of limestone. And this winery, which goes back to, or I should say the chateau goes back to, I think, 1300s, but fifth generation winemakers here owning it. And their winery and cellars are like dug out from over the past 1,000 years, like a lot of the similar places in the region, from that limestone. So that's pretty wild. If you go to their website and look at a picture, you'll see that the chateau goes right up into a hillside, and then there's buildings that come right up against the hills and then inside that hill. So it's a pretty cool looking picture. Before I get a little bit more into this wine, which is 100% Cabernet Franc. So these first two wines come from Polliner. Polliner is one of the better craft importers and distributor wholesalers around. And if you participate in the last Zoom, you know that I said, hey, someone's dropping off samples for me to taste, and it'll, so I should be all set for November, because I got a text right before from the rep that he was going to drop wines off on the front porch. So after we did the Zoom, I went outside to get the wines, and they were gone. I figured one of two things. Someone kind of pinched them, which, happens, but at the same time, I wasn't thinking that nefariously. What I realized was it probably went to the wrong address. I'm at Maple Avenue, and the person with the same house number on Maple Avenue for years has been getting packages and things dropped off. Usually, I wrote to the rep, and I said, "Hey, you probably dropped them at the wrong house." I was in the city the next day, so by the time he got to go there, they were gone. And he said, "No problem. I'll drop off more to you, in a few days." So this was what was that, Tuesday or Wednesday? Little did I know that the person who received those wines didn't realize that I work in the wine business, and posted something on the Saumur Lounge on Facebook, asking for help in solving the mystery. And there was a pretty amusing list of theories as to why this guy showed up on his Ring video at 7:40 p.m. in the dark and dropped off wines, a couple of which were open. So he didn't hear anything back, and then finally he reached out to me on Saturday. He said, someone said to me that you work in the wine industry, and were these actually meant for you? And I said yes. And he said, well, I dumped the ones that were open, but I have to admit I did open the one that was sealed, and it was pretty damn good. Well, that's the wine that he thought was pretty damn good, and but his opinion isn't why I picked it. I had picked it to taste because I was pretty sure I wanted to use it. Again, classic region for Cabernet Franc. Not all reds from the Loire are Cabernet Franc. Sancerre Rouge is actually Pinot Noir. Most are Cabernet Franc or some blend, but Sancerre Rouge is Pinot Noir and tends to be actually a really good value for Pinot Noir for those who interested in exploring that. Maybe we'll do that some month. Wines are made under Philippe and Agathe Vatan. Philippe is the brother of the winemaker who had died suddenly a number of years ago, a few decades ago, and he was kind of forced into leaving his business and taking over the family winery. His eldest daughter, Agathe, is now involved in the business with him. This is classic but bigger tasting. It's dark fruit. It's meaty, gamey, serious dried herbs. This is the one where I said I was getting those dried poblano peppers, not green peppers in this. The herbs are not green fresh herbs; they're dried herbs. This is a big, deep wine. This is, but not like massively high alcohol or over the top. It's actually, I think, it sees no oak aging. It's all done in stainless steel, but still is a pretty good sized chewy wine. So think of the bigger spectrum of food pairings of that protein and vegetable combination. Think stews. This is good with stews. I can even see this with a chili, vegetarian chili even, I think would work spectacularly with this, especially if you are using some like dried or smoked red peppers in it. And those would be my suggestions. Pork goes really well with pork dishes, especially. Think of it like something like a pork roast or a pork chop on the bone would be another good example, or a pork shank. I think I might pull this one out too. So and also would go well with Thanksgiving, especially if you like dark meat and you're having some smokier and fuller bodied flavors in your vegetable dishes. So that's wine number 2, and I'll be back on wine number 3.